Well, that was disappointing. So Steelers lose to the Browns, and I gotta say, I did not like the coaching by Mike Tomlin in this one. I didn't like decision making. I didn't like some of the plays that Arthur Smith called. Um, and then maybe it was just part of the execution by the Steelers players. I'm not sure, but I just didn't like a lot of this game. And this was one where you could kind of predict or see coming because of the Steelers' recent record at Cleveland and their away record just in general on Thursday Night Football and the away record on Thursday Night Football against divisional opponents. So this was almost like it was predictable. You obviously hope everything can happen. Anything can happen. Any change can happen because that's the thing. It's okay. They're 0-8 now, right? But they were 0-7 against divisional opponents on Thursday Night Football on the road. So it's like okay, 0-7 as the Steelers. Mike Tomlin 0-5. You got to win one eventually, right? And even then, they were 2-8 away on. Did I have that stat right? 0-7 on the road at on Thursday Night Football against divisional rivals. 0-8 now. Mike Tomlin was 0-5, now 0-6, and Mike Tomlin was 2-8 as a whole on Thursday Night Football. So 2-2, and now he's 2 no, so 2-2, not against divisional rivals. Okay, that's still the same. But basically, they're not good on a short week, and they've won 22 straight Monday Night Football games at home at the very least, but maybe just Monday night in general. But basically, short week they suck, long week they're great. So that gives you a little bit of hope for this upcoming game against Cincinnati. They'll have a good amount of rest. Cincinnati will too, though, because they are going to be coming off their bye week. So we'll have to see how that goes. But long rest, and may the best team win. But as far as Cleveland goes, this game, it started with light snow, and the snow really took over. There was a picture where it was, I think Cleveland had the ball, and the field was green. The very next drive, Pittsburgh had the ball, and the field was white. So, and the time it took Cleveland, I don't even know what the result of the drive was, whether touchdown, field goal, punt, whatever, turnover. But in the amount of time it took for Cleveland to possess the ball and give it back to Pittsburgh, it snowed and it actually started to stick, and the field turned white. One thing I didn't like was the NFL, whatever computer technology they were using to try to mark the hashes. I didn't like that because I started to see through the players. At first, I was seeing like the hash marks on the players because at first I thought they cleared the snow. I'm like, oh, they cleared the snow. No, they didn't. They put the marks there, and I could see, because of the Steelers' white jerseys, I could see the line go right over them. So I was like, okay, no, that was computer generated. And then when the players became transparent, and I could literally see through them, is when I was like, okay, I don't like this, turn it off. I don't need to see the hash marks that bad. If I think they gained 3 and they gained 2, or I thought they gained 3 and they gained 4, whatever. I'm not that concerned over it because you'll tell me how many yards they gained. So they went from 1st and 10 to 2nd and whatever. You'll tell me. I don't need to see it immediately. And maybe I'm alone in that. But yeah, it turned into an absolute whiteout. And there was a certain point where Pat McAfee, he took a picture of his TV when it was snowing, and he put it up on social media. And I saw that, and I'm like, that just looks like the static on an old TV. Anyone who's probably about a millennial or older. I don't know if Gen Z would really know this. Now, I'm technically Gen Z myself. But my sister, who's about 20 months older than me, is a millennial. So we grew up the same, but so you're either millennial or even old Gen Z. You'll know what I'm talking about here. Anyone young Gen Z or what's the next one? Gen Alpha, maybe. But anyone in that may not know. But you had the old box TVs, and you had like the static where you didn't really have a signal of anything. That's what it looked like to me. And it's and even Al Michaels at one point said, I almost said Jim Nantz. Al Michaels said when Chris Boswell kicked one of his field goals he made, because I think he made 2, but one of his makes, he says, in Boswell's kick, if you can see it, is good. Like, and that's the thing. I'm looking, I'm like, I think it went in, but I could not tell. Like, that's how much this snow was coming down, and they were constantly shoveling. And towards the end of the game, when Cleveland was trying to work their way towards the end zone to try to score, they had a guy shoveling right at the border of the end zone. So that way, in case Cleveland threw a pass, the refs would be able to tell, did he get his feet in or not? Because if that snow did not get cleared off, unless it's like clear and obvious, you would never know if he got his feet down in bounds or not. Like, imagine Isaiah Likely, like that opening game versus Kansas City. If it wasn't opening game and instead it was a December, January game and it snowed and they didn't clear it, and he gets, the foot down, it's like, oh yeah, no, he got his both feet in bounds. It's like, but you never know because of the snow. That rhymes. I think that was like the first time Jameis had played in a game like that, I think he said. Which is surprising. Like, yeah, you went to Florida State in college and you're really only going to play Southern teams. That I get. But all your years in Tampa, right? Then you went to New Orleans. Like, you never had to play in a snow game? Like, he was in Tampa from 2015 to 2019, I believe. Because Tom took over COVID 2020. So, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You were in Tampa for 5 years. You can tell me you didn't play in one snow game? Not one? In 5 years? And now you've been in the league 10 years, and this is your first snow game. That sounds wrong to me. Or maybe he meant, like, to this extent. Like, like where it's basically a whiteout. So maybe that's what he meant by it, but I'm not completely sure what he exactly meant. So, but as far as the game itself, like I said, I didn't agree with a lot of the... maybe I said this in a previous video, maybe at the beginning of this video, I can't even remember now. I didn't agree with a lot of the play calls. I didn't agree with the decision-making. Some of those fourth downs, like... Cleveland's offense wasn't doing anything, and here was my problem with it, right? So you're at, say, the 50. Call it the 50-yard line. It's 4th and 3. You run it, you don't get it. Okay, Cleveland starts the ball at their own 50. They only got to, or their own 50, at the 50. And they only get 5 yards. So now it's 4th and 5, they punt. We start back at the 20, right? We work our way 20 yards. It's now our own 40. We go for it, right? We don't get it. They go 5 yards. They're at the 35. They don't feel confident in a field goal, they punt. Or maybe they go for it. But like my point is that if you punt it away when you're at the 50, and I know Corliss's one and only punt did not go well, but you punt it, and let's say you even punt it 20, 30 yards. Now Cleveland's in their own territory, and they have to, and then if they don't work their way up, then we get the good field positioning to start. You're shooting yourself in the foot by giving them good field position. They don't do anything. Then we have bad field position. If you give them bad field position and they don't do anything, they punt. Now we have good field position. So the field position battle was heavily in Cleveland's favor, in my opinion, with all the 4th downs that they went for. And that's the thing. If you had told me Pittsburgh's only going to punt once, that's it, and Cleveland punted, 2-3 times, I would probably say Pittsburgh probably wins this game. But it's just, I don't understand what Mike Tomlin's logic was. Maybe he was, worried with the weather of a bad punt, like a 15-yard punt like he had. But you have to sometimes take that risk, because even if it's a 15-yard punt at the 50, you're still sending them back to their own 35. And maybe they only get 5 yards. Okay, now you're at the 40. And, you punt. Okay, it was only a punt of 20 yards. Or maybe it was 25 yards. Guess what? You're at your own 35. You're at your 40. Instead of giving them the ball at the 50, they get 5 yards. It's the 45, and now they punt 20, 25 yards, and you're back at your own 20, 25-yard line. You're costing yourself yards here, Mike. And then some of the play calls by Arthur Smith, I didn't like. One specifically was at the end of the game, when Justin was in, and he threw the pass to George Pickens. And honestly, I know George was asking for a ton of flags, and I definitely feel like the refs did not throw some when there should have been. And everyone's not going to be every single one will not be a flag. But even if half of them or a third of them are flags, just see how the outcome would change. Anyway, but this it was a 3rd and 4 towards the end of the game. I think this is the one punt Corliss did have. And to me, you either run it to keep the clock going, or if you do pass, tell Justin, unless you are sure that you can complete it. I don't want a jump ball. I want an easy completion. If you cannot have an easy completion, take off. It's 4 yards. Take off and go. And he threw the jump ball. So whether you would call it a draw play or a run, just a standard run, a read option, something easy, a slant, drag, whatever kind of route you want to run, an in route, whatever, but something that's easy. Or, get a guy in motion, right? And just as he's coming across, you snap it, and you do like a little, either an underhand or a pooch pass, just a little pop pass, and then he has the ball, and he's on the move, and maybe he can get the 4 yards you need. Like, imagine had you sent Calvin Austin, right, from either left, right, or right, left, and you just give him the ball quick and, or heck, an end around, something, you know? Because Calvin is fast. And I feel like he could have been useful in a situation like that. Or if you just tell Justin, get the ball, take off, and go. You know, get the snap and go. Don't worry about a draw. Just, it's a quarterback run. You get the ball and you go. Whether you're in shotgun, actually, you'd probably have to be in shotgun in order for something like that to work. But I just don't understand some of the play calls. And there was one where, I don't know if it was the call, execution, where it was earlier in the game. It was like maybe the first or second fourth down that they went for. Maybe the second one. Because I think the first one was like, it was that a third down and that false started? I think that it was a third and they false started. But Justin, he got the ball, and this was a design quarterback run. Or it was some kind of like run with Justin. I don't think it was a read option or anything like that, but basically, I think he faked left and went right. I think he should have just gone left, honestly. Because that seemed like it was more open, at least to me. But it's hindsight's 2020. I'm just a fan. Now I think Cleveland wants their next stadium to be closed, just indoor like Detroit has. And if that is the case and they do that, then games like this won't happen. And who knows what happens if it's indoor stadium, so no wind, no nothing. Who knows if or how the outcome could be different. Maybe Cleveland wins by more. Maybe they lose. We don't know. But it is a little frustrating to have a game like this where and that's one thing. If I thought, you know what, the play calling was good, they made the right decisions, maybe they were conservative at times, but it's bad weather, and you're trying to pin them deep in their own territory, so that way you can hopefully get good field position, and you don't have to go that far. Everything's hindsight 2020, yada yada. And I'll be watching games, and it's fourth down. And it's like, oh, I'd kick a field goal, or oh, I punt. They go for it, and they get it. It's like, okay, you got it. I'm proven wrong. And then you have times where it's, okay, I'd punt. Okay, I'd kick the field goal, and they go for it, and they don't get it. It's like, well, but as Bill Belichick once said, on to Cincinnati. Steelers will have some extra rests here, so will the Bengals, being on their bye. And Steelers on extra rest, though, are a very good team. So I don't know if it's in Cincinnati or in Pittsburgh, but I think the Steelers do have a chance to win this game. As far as the Ravens go Chargers. It's the Harbaugh Bowl this weekend. We'll see if the Ravens win or lose that. It'll be huge for the Steelers if the Ravens lose that and still stay, what would be, 2 games behind, basically, because they would have 2 more losses than Pittsburgh, and right now they only have 1 more loss. But we'll see what happens with this game. So thank you everyone for watching. If you did enjoy this, please do leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.